In school, everything is straightforward, and we follow instructions, we pass exams, we move from one level to the next one in a structured, predictable way. But eventually, we all step out of that structured path and into the real world. And for me, that was the job market. It didn't take long to realize that finding the right role isn't just about meeting a list of requirements or following instructions. The professional world demands more from us. You need a strategy, a few advantages, and the ability to clearly communicate your value, your potential, and your unique story in a way that makes you stand out. This is something I learned by trial and error, navigating the world of startups and established companies, discovering what worked, what didn't, and how to adapt. Today I'm here to share what I've learned with you. I'm going to share a framework I call the Algebra of Getting a Job that's guided me throughout my career journey. It's a simple way of thinking about the components you control in your career and how to communicate them effectively. So, the linear equation we all know. Break it down. The end goal here is the job you get. But here's the situation. Jobs come in all flavors. Some barely cover the bills, some squeeze every bit of skill out of you, some others just squeeze you dry. Others are just stepping stones towards something bigger. And if you're really lucky, you're gonna land one that you're genuinely passionate about. Now, Messi is passionate about his job. He's still doing it at a professional level, he's making millions, and he will go down as a legend in the world of football. Assume you're not Messi. When I first hit the job market, I wasn't looking for a dream job. I needed a solid stepping stone, something to give me stability and some real experience. So I went with a startup in Amsterdam. That choice was 100% deliberate. I knew that the startup grind will throw me in the deep end, will force me to wear 10 different hats and force me to pick up things fast. That's exactly what I got. I ended up in a role that used every skill I had. Let's be clear, it also used me. But honestly, in the best possible way. The next factor we have is the offset, your edge. The stuff that gives you leverage in the market. We're talking about things like your degree, your nationality, maybe some cash in the bank, any unique skill, or even just time. If you don't have some of this, don't worry. Start putting in the hours for that new skill. Start building up your financial cushion. Remember, companies are always looking to underpay students in exchange for experience. So take that to your advantage. I came in with a decent setup. Had a degree, bit of cash to keep me afloat for a few months, and an automatic 1-year residence permit to find a job here in the Netherlands. The catch? My automatic 1-year residence permit can tie to my status as a highly skilled migrant, which meant that I could only apply for companies pre-approved as sponsors, which basically meant fewer options and more stress. Chasing that next residence permit was a non-stop hustle, but it pointed me straight toward the next offset I needed to get, the Dutch citizenship. The next factor we have is the variable, the unexpected, the wild card. Life throws curveballs and careers are no exception. People love saying just get as much experience as you can or apply to as many places as possible. But here's the reality check. Even just getting the interview, let alone landing the job, is often outside of your control. It's market-driven, industry-driven, economy-driven, and sometimes it's just sheer luck. Look at the recent trends. Software engineering getting crowded, the AI boom. The economy's roller coaster can determine as much about your success as your own effort. In other words, every time the economy sneezes, your success catches a cold. And this isn't just about global shifts. Your own personal circumstances can throw in surprises. Some jobs are not right for you, or maybe you find yourself unchallenged and just itching to get out. Here's the brutal truth. The most underrated career skill is flexibility. You need to be able to adapt and pivot because things that never happened before, they happen all the time. And in today's hyper-competitive, hyper-volatile market, intelligence and technical skills are not enough. Flexibility buys you time, it allows you to wait for the right opportunity, and it lets you maneuver when things go sideways. In my first job, I suddenly became the lead electronics engineer when my company decided to split apart from our technical partners. Overnight, I went from having mentors to managing engineers and taking full responsibility for the design and procurement of our product. Was it fascinating work? Sometimes. But thanks to the pandemic, a huge part of my role was sourcing components amidst a global supply chain breakdown. Not the type of learning curve I had in mind. It was clear that excitement was fading, and for me it was time to move on. So I did. I transitioned into my current role where the challenges and pace are a lot different. It also threw me another curveball. Language. In Amsterdam, easy. English everywhere. But Enschede, whole different ballgame. I went from nodding blankly to actually understanding technical presentations fully in Dutch. In the end, you learn to thrive in chaos. You have to, because that's the game we're all in now. Next factor we have is slope. This represents your hustle. Anybody can slap motivated on a LinkedIn profile. But the real question is, how aggressively are you willing to pursue what you want? Here's the reality check. There are roughly 12,000 recognized job titles in the Netherlands. The probability that your perfect job is the first one you land, it's about as likely as getting through the entire Dutch winter without complaining about the weather. And here's what gets interesting. Most people approach job hunting like they are picking a Netflix show. They scroll endlessly looking for that perfect match. Stop it. Best way to find what you want, volume and velocity. Think about it. If you're making 100 applications, even with a 5% success rate, that's 5 applications, 5 opportunities that you have to see different office cultures, to meet potential colleagues, to assess work-life balance, to understand market value, or even just to practice your pitch. So how do you go after opportunities? Are you the one hammering 100 applications a day? Or are you the one who obsessively looks for that perfect match for weeks? Look, if you're in the first type, you know with a 5% success rate, you're gonna land some interviews. And with every interview, you're gonna get sharper, you're gonna learn what employers respond to, and you're gonna understand the dynamics of different workplaces. On the other hand, if you're more selective, consider this. Let the job agencies play the volume game for you. Let them do the legwork, and as a bonus, they are extra motivated to get you the best offer possible, because the more you make, the more they make. It's a win-win. For me, my first job hunt was a numbers game. I applied wide. LinkedIn, direct applications, job agencies, anything that would get me in the door. Early on, I realized that what gets you noticed isn't just a well-shaped CV. It's how you deliver your story. For years, I've been making YouTube videos starting back in 2019. In those videos, I share my journey in the Netherlands, and I break down complex engineering concepts. I can take an 80-hour-long project and compress it into 10 minutes of compelling content. That's a 480-to-1 compression ratio of engineering concept into digestible content. Do you know who needs the skill? Every hiring manager drowning in 200 identical resumes. When they ask, so what's your story? I didn't just give them my resume. I shared the arc of my journey, connecting the dots between past experiences and showing them where I wanted to go. If you don't have a story that makes them lean forward like that in their chair, you're just another PDF in their download folder. When I first landed my job, I wasn't just another electrical engineer. I was the guy who could condense small, long projects into 10-minute YouTube videos. The guy with a vision to revolutionize the tech industry in Ecuador. That's not on my CV, that's my story. Lastly, here's the deal. Your career path is not a straight line. Never was, never will be. I went from an international student to a startup engineer to a medical equipment developer. Every pivot requires a new story and a new way of communicating value. Right now, I'm at another inflection point. Do I double down on electronics? Do I go for FPGA? Do I take the leap for software engineering? Or do I make a play for project management? A lot of people see this as confusion. I see it as optionality. You can have it all, just not all at once. To wrap up, remember, communicating your experience isn't just about listing achievements. It's about drafting a narrative that shows your growth potential and adaptability. Your career journey might look different than mine, but the principles remain. Be strategic about your job choices, leverage your unique advantages, stay adaptable when facing the unexpected, apply broad and learn fast, and above all, tell your story in a way that others cannot ignore. Thank you.